The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest!
The guests of Scarefest Radio are selected and scheduled independently of the Scarefest Horror and Paranormal Convention. Appearances on this program do not necessarily reflect the itinerary of the convention.
And hello everyone, and welcome to Scarefest Radio, original broadcast date June 8th, 2018, and I can just tell. Okay, first of all, for guests, I've got Lisa Shakelford and Christina Kieffer. Lisa is a flight attendant. Christina, I understand, is a lawyer, so someone is bound to give me shit tonight. There is no way I'm going to get through this night without someone calling me down for something that I say or do. We do have a celebrity announcement. And everybody, I just want to say that tonight, now scheduled, Ken Boggle was supposed to be my co-host tonight. But he messaged me this morning and said that he was under the weather.
Is it meningitis? Scoliosis? Lupus? Is it lupus?
So, he apparently lost his voice doing whatever Ken does. So, Ken cannot be with us tonight as co-host, so I am flying solo with these two lovely ladies. And the misogyny that apparently I am will not be balanced by the sensitive and lovely Ken Boggle. So I'm just warning you ladies right up front. So, hope everything's cool with you all. Now, I'm going to go into the background here a little bit. Now, stupid-ass me did not read the bio that I put on the website, on Scarefest, on thescarefest.com, for Lisa. Or I would have remembered where the hell I knew you from. Archer Paranormal. Back in the old days with live paranormal, when we were all there. So that's I know her. I know Lisa. I know her. And there was it was she you were Archer Paranormal, and that group lasted quite a while. Now I take it you after that was in the past, then you all formed this new Georgia Paranormal Files. Or is there anything in between we should know about?
No, nothing in between.
Okay. So, now Archer... Now, see, that's why I was intimidated with Archer Paranormal. Now, you didn't say... Christina, now you weren't part of that, were you?
No, I wasn't.
It's amazing that you weren't, because another god-dang lawyer in the mix. But Archer Paranormal, what all at the time Archer Paranormal was going on, Lisa? What were all of your job titles? Because I remember being terribly, terribly intimidated when I interviewed you all for the first time.
2 attorneys and a flight attendant.
Okay. So see, and this old country boy. But I interviewed you all on I think it was on the Paranormal Icon show, and then you all and my Kentucky is coming out big tonight. I've been in cattle all day. So,
no, I love it.
So pardon the y'alls. Anyway, but then you all for a while. Why do I keep saying that? Had a show on Live Paranormal, correct?
We did. Sure did.
And then actually for a period, now was that Archer or was this your new group that made the kick over to actual real terrestrial radio?
That was not our group. Or I didn't. No.
I thought for sure that for a while, Archer Paranormal had their own, I mean, I don't remember it lasting a long time, but I thought, okay, should have done my research a little better. But that's what I was thinking. So let's go ahead and get into it with, first of all, everybody, now they are speaking at the Scarefest 2018. Scarefest SF11 Scarefest Rebirth. They are a pair of the seminar speakers presenting together about their new TV series called True Ghost Stories. Ladies, tell us about True Ghost Stories. We'll just start there, and then we'll work our way backwards.
Okay, well, this show is comprised of quite a few teams throughout the country and a couple overseas. And the idea is that we're just going to film ourselves investigating, completely unscripted. Well, we'll see how that goes down the line. And each week will be a different team presenting an episode at different locations. I think we're mostly going after just haunted locations rather than people's homes, but that may change.
Yeah, and it's really raw footage, if that makes visual sense to y'all.
Yeah,
raw. We don't have a camera crew following us. We're all doing the filming, so you kind of get our perspective of what's going on, what's in real time, like what is going on. You don't have the camera crew behind us, like you're seeing what we see, experiencing the things that we do.
Do you worry? Okay, now, this sounds like a great show for people that are really into the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The people like me and the investigators, thousands and thousands of us that are stomping around dark buildings and investigating. What I'm seeing, though, TV, because I'm assuming y'all would like this to be on an actual TV network. What I'm seeing from the TV networks they're not, I'm seeing less and less interest from them in the hardcore, true-to-life, reality, if you will, paranormal. And when I say reality with little air quotes, that's because a lot of what I'm seeing now called reality is not the way I remember it, as they might say.
Right.
Is this being a hard sell? Am I on the right track about what the marketing of this actually is, what you're finding out?
A little bit. I mean, a little bit it is. But the good thing about it, though, I think we got a total of 9 different groups. So you're getting a different group of individuals, different group of individual investigative styles. So you're getting that every week. So it's something different. It's not going to be the same thing all the time.
See, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I like the concept.
Mm-hmm.
I really do like the concept. It's something that I thought about. Only I was actually going to be more organized. I said, wouldn't it be neat if you actually had a real respected person in the paranormal community, and not like myself, like a real respected person, go around and follow these teams around for an investigation. In other words, there'd be like a star of the show, but that was something I thought of. That's why I do this whole radio gig on the paranormal side. I love hearing how people do it, their ideas, their theories, what they try. I'm 100% on board with that. And so, in other words, I'm not disparaging the project. I'm disparaging the TV networks. I mean, that's...
Yeah. I completely agree.
And that's what's going to be hard, because right now, it's the 4 of us on our team, and we have our integrity. We have the integrity of the client, and when we think on down the line, it's not a control thing, but we do things a certain way, and we try to be as respectful as possible. And my fear is having that type of control being taken away, and I don't want it to be just television, because it's not. If we're having a client, or if we're at someone's home, it's not, in that case, just TV. It's their life. So we want it to always be taken seriously. So I don't want it to, go down the wrong road. But the whole goal for all of our teams is to show how we investigate, how I don't want to say how we properly investigate, because everybody has their different technique, but we want to show that, first of all, it can be really busy and really exciting, or it could be like watching paint dry. But the whole idea is we want the reality of what actually happens in the investigation.
Yeah, and
we work hard at what we do.
Yeah, and with all the other teams, you kind of can learn from them. You're like, oh, well, that's a good idea. Well, why don't I try that? Or, well, maybe they should do it this way. But, so I think for other groups that are just out there and they watch this, it gives them a variety of things like, oh, well, maybe we should go in this direction instead of that one that we've always done. That's one thing I always like to promote, is kind of helping each other out and making the field, go forward instead of backwards.
Oh God, yes. The one of the big problems I see in the field is that there is a lot of that you're doing it wrong, and I'm guilty of it myself. But at the same time, we don't know who's really doing it right, because nobody's been on CNN saying, "Hey, look, it's a ghost." So we haven't crossed that threshold yet to where we can definitively say, "Hey, this is the way to do it." But at the same time, I always said to agree with what Christina said. I can learn something from nearly anybody. That's why I always love doing these radio shows, because 99% of the time I come away with something that makes me think, well, that's a good idea. But also in my old age and jadedness, I've also gotten to the point where I'm seeing so much of the same thing over and over and over and over. Because and a lot of that is because a lot of the new stuff that is out there is geared toward that instant gratification. Unproven technology that, lights up or makes a weird voice and everything, and doesn't really, at the end of the day, doesn't give us the evidence, the data, the proof that we can take to a real skeptic and say, "Ha! There's a ghost."
Yeah, exactly. And I just, on the flip side, it's like the media has kind of portrayed a certain way you're supposed to do something in a lot of these, shows that are on the mainstream. And so that's what a lot of groups kind of pick up on. And at least with this, it gives you a different visual of like, well, maybe we should do it this way, instead of, making the field a little bit better than what it is. And
okay,
I think
continue.
And working together on that, I mean, that's the way you got to do it. I mean, in the science field, not very often do you see somebody doing research by themselves and making these discoveries by themselves. They're doing it in small groups with people. They're collaborating with each other. They're working together. And that's kind of like what we're kind of lacking, I think, at this point.
Okay, everybody, we're going to take it. Let me cut you off, Lisa. I will come right back to you after the commercial break, but I do want to go ahead and get our first commercial break in. Everybody, you're listening to Scarefest Radio. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Find them every month at Lexington, Kentucky's Mystical Fair, mysticalfairlex.com, or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANICS. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being. And we're back with more Scarefest Radio, talking tonight to Lisa Shakelford and Christina Kieffer. Lisa, you were saying as I interrupted you to go into break.
I completely forgot what I was going to say. Bear with me. I've been up since 4 a.m. Sorry.
Well, okay. While you're thinking about it, I'm gonna explain to everybody. They very rarely hear me cut off a guest, and the reason is, 2 weeks ago on another show that I was doing, I had a guest that droned on for the entire hour, and I said, I will never, from now on, when it's commercial break time, God damn it, I'm going to put in the commercial breaks. So, that was me overcompensating like men often do. So if you think of it, we'll come back to it. Now, everybody, I do want to remind our listeners that at the half-hour mark, of the show, we do have a top-notch celebrity announcement. I think she's been to Scarefest once, and it's a she. I blew it. I dropped the ball. But anyway, we do have a really good celebrity announcement coming up at the half-hour mark. We will also do our contest on. Let me see how badly I messed up the Facebook thing. Oh, and I'm going to tell everybody the story now. No, I'll wait till the half-hour mark. But I have a good story about the celebrity announcement for tonight when it was given to me. But yeah, we will do it. Nicole Griffith shared tonight's radio banner on the update. So if you want to go to the Scarefest Celebrity Horror Fandom and Halloween Expo group page on Facebook, find that banner, which right now it's at the top. It shouldn't scroll down too much during the show. That will be where we will do tonight's contest to win a 3-day pass. Okay, now, we've talked a little bit about the show. I do have one more question about the show. How did you choose the 9 groups that you've involved in this project?
Sherry Emily is our executive producer, and she is the one who created True Ghost Stories. And they basically put out a casting call and sent emails to different paranormal teams.
Okay, so it was just kind of...
Yeah, it's like, I have this idea who wants to be involved, which was pretty cool. And, go ahead.
Well, what was the criteria? I understand you put out a casting call.
It's been about 3... Pretty much, they wanted, respected teams, people with, experience, and that just had an interest in trying to get this show going.
Okay, now me being a curmudgeon, who decided they were respectable teams? That's
exactly, yeah. I guess we just had to get out there and sort of prove ourselves, but, yeah. Sometimes, we do it.
I was just going to say, that sounds like a horrible question to ask. But once again, that is from my experience in the paranormal field. Right. Some of the teams that puff their chest out the most and talk about their accomplishments are the ones that, well, I'll just put, they haven't even read the manual that came with their camera.
You're
yeah.
That's a good question for Sherry. I don't really know how she really made that determination.
Okay.
Maybe they did a Google search and went to everybody's website and see if there was like blood dripping or heavy metal. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a good way in the old days, of course, to decide who was respectable. But I just know there's a lot of teams that have really done the footwork, but their websites are just boring. And it's because they worry more about the presentation of the data rather than the really cool YouTube videos. But anyway, okay, beyond that. Now, okay, so we talked a little bit about the show, and you all are going to be... Now, how are you going... One last thing on that. As far as the seminar, are you going to be talking about your experience with the show or more of the nuts and bolts like I've been trying to get into? What is your seminar going to be about as far as the True Ghost Stories TV series?
It is. It's going to be a little bit about our experiences, but also some of the investigations that we've been going on. And we're probably mainly going to talk about one of our big ones, which was one of the episodes, is Hell's Bar Dam. So that's probably going to be our primary topic, and what went on there, and our experiences there, and what we caught.
Okay, now we're going to go to more of an individual thing. We're going to kind of get into your own background in the paranormal. Lisa, since you're at the top of my bio sheet, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, yeah.
What created? Now, okay, because now here I'm going to give you. I don't know Christina. I don't know you from a hole in the wall. But because I know Lisa has been at this a while. Gosh, when I first interviewed Archer Paranormal, that was probably at least 4 years ago, probably 5. And so I don't. How long have you been in the paranormal? First of all,
I started investigating in 2008.
Okay. Now,
so really, it's not that long compared to some people. Yeah.
In the paranormal field, 2008, that's like dog years. You're an old hat.
Okay.
Now, well, okay. No, truly, a lot of people get into it, and either the drama that's in the field drives them out. It almost did me.
Mm-hmm. I took a break for 2 years. Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah.
And then a lot of people, because they are triggered, as was I, by what they saw on TV, they don't always develop that passion for knowledge that is required to sit in a dark-ass room talking to walls half the night. Let's face it, I mean, Hales Bar Dam, I mean, that's a famous place. But there's just a lot of boring places that are paranormally active. That it takes a special defect, if you will, to want. No, it takes a special passion. It takes a special quest for knowledge, if you will, to want to have the patience to go on investigation after investigation. And a lot of times, you just don't get anything. At least nothing that that you're wanting to wave to the world. So I do. So yeah, that's. You've been in it plenty long. Now, the next question is, what brought you into the field? What drove the obvious passion that you have to carry with you to stay in it this long?
Well, like probably most of us, we had, I had experiences when I was little. We had moved to a house in Mississippi when I was around 13. We actually moved from San Francisco to Mississippi. Yeah, it was fun. But there was activity in the house. Things would move. The piano would play by itself, and I don't mean like just it was a really old piano. It was from the 1800s. But it would do like a chord, or it would do like a scale, and that doesn't happen when when the piano's broken, or if there's something going. I don't play the piano, so I'm trying to think. What would you call it? I guess whatever's inside the piano. But it would do an actual scale. I know that the curtains would be open and closed a lot. One night I had somebody sit on my bed. I mean, I believe now it was an older man, from what I've been told, who died in the house, probably in the 40s. But when you're 13 years old and your parents just poo-poo what you're telling them, oh, it's your imagination, or you watch too many scary stories. And my mother was a very strict Southern Baptist, so you can imagine how that went over. It's scary. It's really scary. And I wear contacts now, but back then my vision was really bad. So imagine, here you are, you're scared to death, you're 13 years old, and you're so nearsighted that you can feel something's there, but you can't quite see it. So that's what really started everything. It's the TV shows actually that made me want to investigate, because back then, where were those paranormal teams? Because I would have loved to have had someone to come and say, it's okay, you can actually ask them to leave or whatever. So when I think it might have been, what was the first one, Ghost Hunters? I was like, oh my God, they have people do that, and I wanted to start. I started researching that, and I started Googling, and then I found a local team here in Atlanta and went and met with them because I wanted to know what was going on. I mean, years past, but I like to know the why of things, I guess. So why was that happening? What was it? You know, God forbid, I'm not crazy, right? So that's kind of what got me started.
Fair enough. And see, now I was blessed. You mentioned the Southern Baptist thing. Mm-hmm. I get that story a lot. My church says, you know, blah, blah, blah. And one of the first investigations I went on, she had actually went to her clergy to seek help. And her clergy said, you've got demons and it's your fault. And so then she came to me and I'm like, yeah, it's your ex-husband and he's a dick. He was a dick when he was alive. That's why you divorced him. I mean, that's, you know. But that being said, moving on from that part of it, I was blessed religiously in that I don't remember the topic ever even coming up as far as theologically in my church. But now, I mean, we told ghost stories. We celebrated Halloween. In other words, there wasn't that taboo about it. Now, I've since talked to an old friend that went to church with me, and he tried to convince me that, yes, they are, in fact, demons, and that I am, in fact, going to hell. But he had he had a whole list of reasons I was going to hell, so that's beside the point. Christina. Same question. How long have you been in the paranormal, and what put you there?
I've been in the paranormal for over 10 years. The actual time I started, I kind of forgot. But I'm not like most people. I didn't have that experience growing up, you know, like being like 5 years old and seeing like a full body apparition or something. I never had that. I just was always interested in the paranormal. I remember when I was in middle school, that was when I really started freaking out. I would be the only one that would go to the library and rent out the UFO books. I was watching X-Files, I mean, you name it. And then when just like Lisa, when the first paranormal shows started coming on, Ghost Hunters, that was, oh my goodness, I was obsessed. And I watched it, and then I graduated from high school, got into college, and my sister, of all people, it was so weird. She had a friend that was in a local group, and my sister joined them. And then all of a sudden, she's like, "Hey, why don't you come and join us?" I'm like, "What? Really? They'll let me join?" I was freaking out because I'm thinking I've got to have experience or something to join this group. That really you can't really kind of get a background to, you know, experience to join something like that. You just kind of have to get in there. And so they let me join, and from then on I was hooked. And I remember my first ever investigation. That group, it was a little odd because it was a large group. They had probably like 20 people in it. And the first investigation, there's probably like 18 people there. So talk about audio contamination. But I remember catching my very first Class A EVP on that investigation, and it was just amazing. When I first heard that, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. And the funny thing is, it cussed me out. It said F you. Like, it was talking to me. Told me to F off. I couldn't believe it.
That's actually a good thing. Now, I do...
they love to cuss.
The TV viewers did not get to see my reaction. That is my go-to reaction every time I'm talking to someone who mentions that they were in high school watching Ghost Hunters.
High school? Okay.
Well, that's when it started, I think.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm
older than... I'm not that young.
Yeah, you just keep telling yourself that. But anyway,
I'm
so
in my 30s.
that was my go-to response. We're going to take another commercial break. We'll be right back with more from Lisa Shakelford and Christina Kieffer. You're listening to Scarefest Radio.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to CoyoteChris.com to learn more. And welcome back to Scarefest Radio. First of all, let's have our celebrity announcement before they scoop me on Facebook.
Yay.
Adrienne Barbeau is coming back to Scarefest. Adrienne Barbeau. And
I remember
yeah, she was Carol on Maude, and she's also been in a whole bunch of she's been in a whole bunch of horror movies. But the lovely and talented Adrienne Barbeau, who I had her poster. I don't know if you ladies care about that, but yes, I did in fact have her poster hanging on my wall in the late 70s. So yeah, there you go.
Was it next to your Fawcett poster?
It was what?
I said, was it next to your Farrah Fawcett poster?
Yeah, pretty darn close. Oh yeah, I had that. I had Farrah hanging up for sure. It was Adrienne Barbeau. If I'm not mistaken, she was wearing a purple teddy. If my memory.
Awesome.
Now here's the story behind this announcement, everybody. This is what I go through on Scarefest Radio from week to week. I had not heard from anybody with an announcement tonight, so I texted Nicole and Brandon and said, okay, just double checking, do we have an announcement tonight? And the first text is, we have a venue set for our laser tag. Pause. Adrienne Barbeau. And I'm like, first of all, why didn't you lead with Adrienne Barbeau? It blew me away that they thought that but anyway, so that's what I go through. I almost didn't catch Adrienne Barbeau because I went, oh great, we've got a place for the laser tag.
Laser tag.
That could wait. But now, also just to bust her chops a little bit, I've already been given a heads up. There more than likely will not be a celebrity announcement next week because Layla's on vacation. Layla gets vacations. I don't get vacations. I work. But anyway, so I did a little heads up there. But Adrienne Barbeau, of course, The Fog. Good Lord,
right.
Creep Show. She was Creep Show. So she's done so many movies and TV series and a lot. And of course, there's a reason behind it. A lot of voice work because she has simply to this day one of the sexiest voices in the world, bar none. So there, I said it. Now, on to our 3-day pass giveaway. We will do it on the Facebook. We will do it on the banner on the Scarefest Celebrities Horror Fandom and Halloween Expo. If you want to actually type it in, it would be www.facebook.com/group/scarefest.horror.paranormal. The old way of saying it, which is the one I like because it rolls off the tongue so neatly. But under the banner for tonight's show that says updates for tonight's Scarefest Radio, I'm even going to type right now, I'm going to type contest here. And I misspelled contest because I cannot type. Contest here. There. We're making it so darn plain and simple that anybody can play. Tonight, just type the first person that says true ghost stories. True ghost stories. That's all I need to see typed, and you will win a 3-day pass that I will eventually get around to emailing out to everybody. While we're waiting for somebody to win, I'm gonna. You've always apparently, Lisa, you've managed to surround yourself always with overachievers, because right here, Christina, formally trained in biology and ecology with a master's degree. You have a master's degree in biology and ecology, and yet you lower yourself to be a lawyer.
I'm actually not a lawyer.
Well, what are you then?
Well, right now, I'm an environmental field tech, laboratory supervisor, so.
Where did I get lawyer from? I can't swear I saw
I don't
this
know.
Well, there. Okay, there.
You know, pay for her law school, she probably would do well there.
Well, I'm sure
I
she
don't know
would.
about that.
Okay, well, there. Now my world makes sense. I can deal with a biology professor and researcher. In your own research now, okay, Lisa, back to you. What?
Okay.
Let's talk about paranormal research. Now, first of all, here's a very purist question, and I appreciate the answer either way. Do you consider yourself a paranormal researcher, or do you consider yourself a ghost hunter?
I really don't like the term ghost hunter. I like I like investigator better.
Okay, paranormal investigator. Yeah. Now, what's your gripe about ghost hunter?
I don't know. I think because this sounds terrible, but sometimes it seems there's a negative connotation almost. And I don't know. It sounds ghost hunter. When you say ghost hunter, it's almost like I think of some of those. Oh, I don't want to be. How do I say this? I just think
you're doing it for sport, just for kicks and giggles. Nothing.
Or fly-by-night teams that they think they're cool. They're ghost hunters. I'm not that person. I want to help. I don't want to cause drama or create more drama or make it worse. So I guess that's why I like investigator better.
Okay, no, it's fair enough. There was no...
In my head, I guess because it's funny, as a flight attendant, a lot of people, you just talk and they find out what you do on the side. They want to know things. And it's like, oh, you're a ghost hunter, like those people on TV. No. No, not like those people on TV. I don't know. That's just me. I like investigator.
There's nothing wrong with
I'm
the people
simply not an expert. I know that.
I'm
the help.
Now this goes back to the series though. One of the things I've learned talking to the vast majority of these people who are on TV, the TV shows so rarely give them an opportunity to reflect their passion for the paranormal. Especially, I'll say that especially with the people that were involved in Ghost Hunters over the years.
Right.
In all of its incarnations. And I've spoken to a few of Paranormal State people. The jury's still out on Tennessee Wraith Chasers. No, they're some good guys. But I just haven't spoken to them enough to really find out what their knowledge base is. In other words, how much they're putting in passion versus how much they're really the quest for knowledge. And I'll get around to that. But the vast majority of the people who have made it with any staying power, I'll put it that way, on TV, it's not because they're the most handsome, it's not because they're the smartest, but it is because they carry with them a passion for learning. I don't want to say passion, a passion for learning that is just I'll say that it's hard to fake, but at the same time, it really doesn't. It just a lot of times it doesn't play on TV. The worst case of it was Deep South Paranormal. Most of those boys were. You never saw Deep. You didn't miss anything, and I've told them to their face.
I fly a lot.
Deep South Paranormal was the Duck Dynasty of paranormal shows.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but you know what? Come to find out, most of those boys had college educations. Now, they spoke like me. They had the bad Southern accent and beards and everything else. But they were really intelligent guys who were out and got in the field for the right reasons and got hooked up with this TV show that that did not frame them in a positive light.
Yeah.
I think would be a good way to put that. Of course, a completely different animal from the type of show that you all are a part of and are in our shopping now. In the investigative realm now, Lisa, do you have a favorite part of paranormal investigating? A favorite tool, a favorite method? What keeps your interest the most?
I love EVPs. I like doing EVP sessions and then going back and seeing what I get. There's something about an EVP session. I don't know. I think that just sitting there and asking the questions, but also when we're just sitting around just talking amongst ourselves, it seems like that's almost a good bonding moment, if you want to use that phrase, to where they can just interact with us, because that's usually when they interact with us the most. So to me, that part of listening to any session is crucial, because you get to find out a little bit about them sometimes.
I've actually gotten, I think was it Erie Paranormal that we talked about it, and I actually tell groups one of the best methodologies I've come across, and I don't think I invented it. Actually, I'm going to give, I think it was kind of an expansion on an idea that Paul Browning had. But rehearse a conversation. If you cannot just come up with a good conversation on your own, actually have a controlled conversation. Now, the control part is important, because if you're just willy-nilly talking all over the room, then some asshole is going to whisper, and you're going to think it's an EVP. But if you have an action, and I told them, go into a place, have a conversation that's just day-to-day mundane stuff, and they've had great results with it, and it's like the ghosts want to be a part of the conversation. They don't want to be the center of attention, but they want to be a part of the conversation.
Well, they're people, sure. Well, we did an EchoVox session once in Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in the chapel, and it was the first time I'd ever used that app on my iPhone, and it was pretty cool because we're sitting there and we're talking, and I think I'd asked him kind of a question, and all of a sudden this man, and you can hear it plain as day, he says, "Where are you from?" And I thought, oh, well, I'm from Atlanta. Where are you from? And he answered, I don't know what he said, but it was just, it really reminded you, and it almost put you in your place to know that this really shouldn't be a sport, really shouldn't be a hobby. You're dealing with real people. They may be deceased, but they're real, and they're deserving of respect. So to me, it was really an eye-opener that, it kind of put you back on your little track on what you needed to be there for. It's cool.
The only caveat I would put on that is that when you talk about it as a sport or as a hobby, see, now I don't...
But to me, it's like, wait a minute, this isn't just fun and games.
Oh, I understand that. What I'm saying is, I don't mind people getting into the field for the fun and games aspect, or the sport of it, or the hair standing up on the back of your neck, or any of those things. Because I know those won't keep you in the field. All those things. If just like, I don't mind the ghost hunter tag myself. We discussed that, because when I go into a building, I'm hunting for ghosts. I mean, I just dumb it down, and that's what I'm not interested in aliens. I don't want to. I'm sure not looking for demons. When I go in on an investigation, as a rule, I want to know if there's something that I would call a ghost there. Now we can get into all the definitions of what ghost is, and that's what kept me in the field. As long as it has. But anyway, so I don't. I just, like I said, I don't mind that, because I know if you get in it because you watch too much TV, like me, or if you get in it because of the thrill aspect. The only thing I will say is, and like I said, you've got the years under your belt, but if you're getting in it to become rich from a TV series, you better luck next time, people. Christina, over to you. Similar type questions. What is your go-to? Oh, and I do want to throw one thing in here, though. You talked about that first EVP. That is what hooked me. I went on one investigation. I didn't get shit because it was a public investigation, and pretty much it was a private investigation done by anyone that would walk off the street. So there was like 5 or 6 people, no controls. But I did find out that night I really like walking around in the dark. But the first time I went on an investigation and sat down to review my evidence, and I heard that clear answer to a question that I had just asked, I cursed loudly and yelled for my wife, who was in the other room. I said, "You won't believe this." I was lucky in that within 5 minutes of starting the review, I got something really cool, and I was hooked ever since. Now, the question is, what, going forward now, what is your favorite thing about the paranormal?
Gosh, I can't really pinpoint it to one thing, to be honest, because I like going on investigations. I'm the one that can sit there for hours and have nothing happen and still like have an awesome time.
Right.
Because I'm weird. I don't know, but and then also on the flip side, sitting there and then actually have the potential to actually be able to talk to somebody that you don't know, to meet somebody new, parentheses, you know, a person that's already had passed away. And so even getting those EVPs, that's amazing. That first EVP I ever caught, I was the same way. I couldn't believe it. Of course, I was the newbie, and in that moment I had asked the stupid question, did you die here? Like, really? And that was a little disrespectful, but...
That's not disrespectful. It's an honest question. I'm sure they get tired of hearing it.
I know. And the guy, the response, it was Class A, like I said, and it was a thick Southern male voice. And it said, fuck you.
Well, there you go. Like, see? It wasn't a dumb question, but it was one that he just didn't want. Be a little more original is what he was trying to tell you.
Yeah, exactly. But then, I mean, I guess I'm like every other paranormal researcher or investigator that kind of is wanting to see that holy grail full body apparition. You know, I haven't really seen that yet. I've seen shadows, like kind of like right in front of me, like, you know, it's a shadow. It's not, you know, somebody, you know, walking by, a shadow being cast by somebody else. It was it was paranormal.
It was a dark spot in the room, darker than the rest of the dark. I've seen it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It had no form, but you know it wasn't a car driving by, or you know what it is. And I just, every time I get something like that or have an interaction, I get so excited. If you don't get excited, then you might be in the wrong field. But
it makes it real.
Yeah, and you know that they're there, and that you're making that contact with them. I mean, I guess it's more of a spiritual type thing, I guess.
Yeah, for me it is, yeah.
I can see that.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they trust you enough to want to. Because I don't think they do that for everybody. I think
I don't think they can show themselves when they want to. I think it just happens. I think they're standing there and something happens and the environment's right or the energy's right or their emotional state's right. But I do not think, when I see on TV, they'll walk in there, show yourself to me.
Oh, God.
I'm like, it's weird, but that's what we're all asking for. We might word it differently. But I don't think they can. In other words, I don't think a ghost can go, okay, let's give them a thrill. Now, we'll tell you, similarly, Christina, I have not seen a full-body apparition, except, now this is how jaded I am. I'm walking through Waverly Hills, and I'm in setup mode. I'm just trucking down the hallway, setting up cameras and stuff, forgetting that I'm in one of the most haunted locations in the country, and stuff can happen at any moment.
Right.
Walk past a room, I see a man standing there. He is standing there against the wall, and I guarantee you I walked 5 foot past the door before I stopped and said, shit, that was a ghost. And went back and there was nothing there, of course. So maybe I imagined it, maybe not, but that is my little full body apparition story. We've got about 5 minutes left. And I do need to announce Carl Courtney. Carl Courtney, you are tonight's winner. Carl Courtney is tonight's winner for posting, and I need to write his name down or I will forget and have to listen to this episode again. I've done that. Carl Courtney, you are tonight's winner. Thank you for playing our game. If you want to friend me and text me your email, that's the way it works, and I will email your tickets out to you just as soon as we get a rainy day on the farm here so that I can spend some computer time. only thing I wanted to finish up with on investigations. Christina, now you said your holy grail is to actually see a full body apparition. That is what you're there for. Lisa, do you consider, is that your holy grail? Do you have to see something? Do you have to touch something? How do you look at, what is your goal, I guess is a good way? Where you want to go in the field? What do you want to happen to you?
Well, yeah, in that the full bodied apparition.
In the field. Okay.
In the field. Well, I've seen sort of a full bodied apparition, but I would like to see, that solid full bodied apparition. That would be amazing. Or, people always ask, well, why are they still here? I don't know. They've never told me. So maybe, I would like one of them to sit down and talk with me and say, well, I didn't cross over because of this reason. That would be awesome. But,
I always imagine, I always imagine if all of a sudden I see a full body apparition, like a person standing there, like, how would I react? Be like, hey, how you doing? My name's Christina. Like, what do you do? Like,
I will tell you how you will react. No, I don't know that you will react this way. Now, this is not the full body app, because like I said, mine was walk right past the son of a bitch and then go back looking for him. But I've told this story before. One of the things that we always want in the paranormal field is an immediate response to the question we ask. I was doing an EVP session, and we were convinced a ghost was hanging around this old kitchen cabinet. And it was in an antique store. And I said, look, okay, we've been doing some dowsing. We've been doing an EVP session. If you're here with us, let us know. And the bitchin' doors on the cabinet flew open. Now, not going, oh, that was really great. No, Wesley curses and says, F me. It was like, I was so amazed. When things like that happen, we're still human, and there is just no way to be ready for it when it happens. A good example was on Ghost Hunters. Grant Wilson pokes his head looking for a ghost, sees a freaking ghost in the floor, and screams, basically. He jumps backwards because, you're not, I'm not going to say nobody is, but most of us, even though that's what we want, I don't know how you prepare yourself mentally for seeing that. Now, we'll add, I've not gotten the secrets to the universe, but I did do an EVP session one time where I asked someone their name, and they told me, but they said, Elizabeth, but I'm dead. So I don't, I don't. In other words, she was very, very, very realistic about her situation and did not seem to mind me being there a bit. So everybody, this has been Scarefest Radio. Now, between here and Scarefest, anything else you want to plug? Anything we can do to help along with the project called True Ghost Stories?
Well, when it comes out, please watch it. We don't have a date yet, and we don't have a network that's been told to us yet. Everything's very hush hush and top secret. They don't tell us anything, but any support would be great. There is a public True Ghost Stories page on Facebook if you'd like to go and follow that. That would be great.
Yeah, and you can catch me. I have a public Facebook page too. My Perfect Pro page and Rock Radio and more. So, and all those, media outlets you can catch me on. I think Lisa too.
Yeah, my blog is The Haunted Flight Attendant.
Okay. Yeah. See, there you go.
Well, let's sum it up for people. If somebody said, I want to find out more about these ladies, what page should they go to start their exploration? Is there a hub? Is there like one page?
Well, we have our Georgia Paranormal Files page, and then I guess my blog is the haunted flight attendant. I like to post on there a lot, and it's not always paranormal, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I have my pro page. It's under Christina Kieffer, and it's the same thing. Like, it's not always paranormal. It's got environment and other things, and a lot of times we'll post things that we're doing, like upcoming investigations or stuff that we're doing. So that's always a good spot to go to.
Okay, one more question before I let you go. This will be one for each of you.
Okay.
Lisa, what do your fellow flight attendants think of your passion for the paranormal?
Well, it's interesting. I fly international purser a lot, and I've actually had my briefings before the flight be interrupted as a flight attendant walks by, will poke in their head and go, "Oh, aren't you the ghost hunting flight attendant?" So that happens. They're pretty receptive. Actually, the hotel I'll be in tomorrow in Amsterdam, I'm flying to Amsterdam tomorrow, is haunted. And everyone talks about it. So a lot of times I get a lot of private messages from other flight attendants wanting to know my thoughts on it, or do they need to be afraid and stuff like that. So, yeah, a lot of people know who I am through the flight attendants. At least it's.
Okay, Christina, a similar question, because as a biology professor and researcher and an ecologist, you're surrounded with like science type people then.
Yeah.
How do they feel about your interest in the hither?
I've kind of had both. When I was working on my master's degree, oh my goodness, other people in my classes would make fun of the field, just straight up, and I'd be just like, kind of like with the blinders on, don't look at me. But then my current job, I work at it's a small company, and they actually made me do a presentation on the paranormal at one of our weekly meetings that we had. And I'm not even joking. It was like hilarious. I had my PowerPoint and everything, and they just freaked out because I'm showing them EVPs, video, you name it, and kind of just giving them like a general overview of the paranormal, and they were like all excited. So they were like freaking out. And that's the thing they always ask is, what are you doing this weekend? You gonna go on any investigations? I'm like, well, maybe. So at least they kind of reciprocated, pretty well, versus people and other, like, at my school and stuff like that. So
Cool. Okay, everybody, this has been Scarefest Radio. We're all out of time for the night. I want to thank everybody for viewing and or listening. Our guests tonight were Lisa Shakelford and Christina Kieffer, working on a little project called True Ghost Stories, hopefully coming to a TV set near you. Our celebrity announcement was the lovely and talented Adrienne Barbeau. Our winner of tonight's 3-day pass was Carl Courtney. Thank you so much for tuning in.